What's going on, everybody? It's Crypto Coffee's channel here. It's Matt, and here with a guy that I can't believe I just discovered. His name is Hex Element. He's been posting for a while. I think you've got really awesome content, man. And like I was saying earlier, just before this, very professional. You've obviously got the mic and the streaming equipment down. So I don't know if you've done this in a past life or anything, but why don't you introduce yourself and just tell the people who you are, where you're from, why you're here.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm just from a small town in Oklahoma. I got really into cryptocurrency, like, I don't know. I mean, I've known about Bitcoin forever, but I haven't really got into it until, like, all these trash coins like SafeMoon and Doge and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and basically my cousin told me about Hex, and basically I dumped all that. I got rid of everything, I put it all back in my bank. Because I didn't know how to bridge and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I bought Hex, and it's more than just a crypto in my opinion. It's kind of like a healthy lifestyle to like delay gratification, when you learn and stuff like that. So, but yeah, my name is Hex Element, I guess, or you can call me Taylor. And I just started creating, videos for Hex because I wanted to get acquainted with the community, be able to interact with people, and also push the word of Hex. And, now PulseChain and pulsex and all that kind of stuff whenever it comes out. So yeah, I've been just creating videos for a couple months. I've always, had my equipment or whatever. It just trying to figure out what the right way to go about it was, like what to do with it. And now, that I've started creating these Hex videos and crypto videos, man, I'm just gonna keep doing that. So yeah, it's a little introduction.
Cool, man. Yeah. Well, what I like about your stuff is that you're doing it right. It's professional. You got all the right equipment, and
Mm,
the whole thumbnail game. It's all down. But you're making like short, digestible content. 5 minutes, 10-minute videos. A lot of people that are new to Hex, they come around, they stick around for the community, but when they're new, they don't have time to watch a 2-hour video of us just bullshitting and talking a bunch of nerd talk that is like almost incomprehensible because there's so much terminology and such a basis that you need to build up from. So you're really taking the time to teach people the groundwork and the foundation of what is Hex. You know what I mean? How does it work? Why is it even good? What is PulseChain? What is PulseX? A lot of people probably have these questions and they're too shy to ask them because when we talk a lot of times we get really in depth and it's really easy for us to keep going super deep, but forget about the new guy. And so I'm glad there's people like you coming up. I try to do that every once in a while, but my audience sometimes, a lot of them have been here for a while too, so they don't really care about the intro to what is Hex. But I'll
yeah.
still find my videos about how to stake Hex, how to buy Hex. Those still get views even though they're a year old. So that's called
Hmm.
Evergreen Content. So it's a great tactic. I mean, you're basically just taking things that people search for naturally. What is Hex, or why is Hex better than XYZ? Why is Hex better than Bitcoin? These are topics that people are always going to be searching for, even in 2024, 2025. Like, you're probably still going to be getting views on these, and they're digestible. And once you're part of the community and you start to get to know people, you hang out in these streams and you feel like you're actually friends with everybody, right? You're in the chat room. Like, I see you guys all here, like MJ Money, Yellowtail, Big Simp 69, great name, Hexy Cat, Fat Sammy Slice, J Pond, Hyper Sniper. Good to see all you guys. Jerry Oaksmith, my brand new newest moderator. So yeah, we've got all these guys here that have been around a while, and they just like to hang out because we're all kind of ideating together about the future of what could happen. But you don't get
Right.
to that stage before you actually understand what all this stuff is all about. And
Hmm.
so, streams like this are kind of where you end up, but videos like you and I make, I think, are where people start out. So pretty
Yeah,
important.
definitely. Because and so the thing about it is like whenever I made my first, what is Hex video, I had only been in for, five or like 5 or 6 months. And so it takes a while for you to like get the gist of all the details about what Hex is and how to, there's different ways to use it obviously and with staking and stuff, but I feel like the way that I started to understand it, I was like, man, there's so many technical people out there that are like talking crazy, like can like go on for hours and hours and talk about the technicalities of everything. But I'm like, okay, I need to take a step back and put a content out for somebody that's like me, like someone that so that they could understand from a base level like what it is, like so that I would understand it, and so
Yeah.
And so yeah, man, digestible stuff. You know, I kind of do both now, but yeah, I like to make shorter videos. Like on the diamond video that I made is just like 2 minute video because there's not much you need to say. And then you know what is hex like a 5 minute video? Why hex is better than Bitcoin? 5 minute video and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah, well, it's good stuff, man. So you've been here for 8 months, right?
yeah.
So what price is that? What price did you get in at?
7 cents.
7 cents. So you're sitting up at about
Yeah.
double or triple, depending on the day. And you're still here, and you seem to be here for a while. You seem to be committed, right? So why are you
Yeah.
sticking around? Why aren't you terrified of this dump? Why aren't you crying like everybody else on Twitter?
Because it's all about that long-term mentality, man. Because you got to think about T-shares and you got to think about the next 15 years. You know, if you're doing that 5 stake, like once you have the mindset change from a trader mentality to like a staker mentality, then you can understand that like just because it's at 17 cents right now, that doesn't matter. Like what is 17 cents in a year? It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's a blip in time, you know?
Yep.
So when you're in it for the long run, like most of us are, you know, I mean, of course it's easy to like, oh, the price is dropping. It sucks. I mean, yeah, it sucks. But, you know, in 15 years from now, you're going to be looking back, like laughing, like, oh, yeah, you know, we thought it was going down at 17 cents or whatever.
Blip on the radar, right? Like once we reach new all-time highs, and this has happened time and time again, when Hex pumps, guys, and it pumps fast, and you don't want to miss it. You want to be staked during that time. But it pumps fast and it retraces hard, and it never quite goes below the previous all-time highs. So it consistently makes new all-time highs. But if you're not holding on the days of the pump or the weeks of the pump, and it might only be a week or two of time where like a 10 to 20x happens in a week. And if you're trying to chase that and you're trying to get in halfway through it, well, you just cut your gains in half. So instead of a 20x, you know, you just got a 10x or even lower, you know, because you're trying to chase the pump and buying at the top. Whereas the real time to be buying, guys, is when everybody is in maximum fear, maximum rage, which is what I'm seeing all around us right now, which is why I feel so confident and calm and collected about shilling or promoting. It makes me want to just promote that much harder because now I can safely tell people that, hey, I'm pretty sure you're not buying the top. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure if you get in now, there's not much more downside to go. You know, when you consider PulseChain right around the corner, there's all that hype. There's the fact that, hey, if you're staking for a couple of years, your APY offsets any dip, even if we had a bad year. Also, if you look at Bitcoin, right, it doesn't have that many bad years. It has bad months, it has bad weeks, but crypto in general, on a 2, 3, 4, 5-year holding period, you're almost always up. You know, almost no matter what the coin is. I mean, the altcoins, yeah, they crashed way harder than Bitcoin, but everything crashes up to 85%. That's crypto, right? And the price you pay for the mad gains is extreme volatility. So if you're not used to that, you know, if this is your first rodeo or maybe your first dip, this is part of the game of crypto. This just happens. And right. So if you're not able to, I guess, fix your mentality into seeing these dips as opportunities rather than, and if it's going to stress you out and add mental anguish to your life and you're not going to be able to sleep at night because you're down 50% on your investment, you know, sorry about the top, bro, but like maybe crypto is not for you in general because that's going to happen regardless of what coin you're in. The only difference is a lot of people, when they get wrecked on a coin, they think the answer is to jump ship, go to the next coin. Whereas with Hex, we always preach this. We're like, no, just hold the right coin. You know, this coin's got product market fit. It's not going anywhere. It's got a massive community, fundamental growing every day. The staker user base is growing every day. Massive game-changing apps like Staker app are being built. Hex.com just got updated. We're in the Daytona 500. Richard Hart bought the world's largest diamond. We've got news coming left and right. You know, just everywhere you look, there's good stuff going on. Development being made. Hex is about to have 0 gas fees when it lives on PulseChain. It's essentially relaunching on PulseChain. You've got obviously the PLS token and the PulseX token. So if you're here during that time and if you're just holding and accruing interest, you don't have to worry about hopping to the next coin. You know, just stay here for a while, experience your first dip. And if you make it through your first dip, your second one gets that much easier. And your third one gets that much easier. And by your fourth dip, guys, this is like, I don't even know because I got into crypto in 2015. So I've seen dips, guys. So this is maybe my 10th or 11th or 12th rodeo of losing money on paper, right? And for a sustained period of time of a couple of months. But in the grand scheme of things, it's going to seem like a blip on the radar, right? Due to the exponential nature of how this stuff grows. You know, when you look at the Bitcoin chart and it's a linear chart, it just looks like a flat line and then a giant pump and then a giant dump. But they don't show you that in that flat line, there's a bunch of little bumps there where if you were to zoom in on those bumps at the time, and those bumps were happening, those were the new all-time highs. So those seemed relative to the chart like crazy, crazy run-ups and crazy, crazy drawdowns. But it's easy to look back and say, oh, well, it must have been so easy to hold through the flat line. No, it wasn't easy to hold through that flat line. It was very, very volatile, which is why you need to use logarithmic charts. So if you're ever on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, click the log button on the chart so you can actually get a sense of, because of the exponential growth and nature of cryptos, you can actually get a sense for how the coin did at the time and how maybe you would have been feeling at the time you bought that coin, you know, having to withstand dip after dip after dip. But I guess we're just here to say it's not ending, right? And if you really believe HEX is over, done, that's it, let's all go home, then get out, because like we really don't need you. And the quicker we can get rid of the sellers, the quicker we can pump again. So I feel like we got to be so close, right? Like it's just, I have intuitive gut feeling in the air that everyone's fighting, everyone's angry. This is a huge buy signal to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. You know, the people that like hate on Hex, like they literally show a chart and then they won't have like logarithmic, like the log chart on. And it's like you're literally
square one.
You're not seeing 90% of what you need to know, you know? So it's like, it's just crazy to me. Like when people try to hate on it, I mean, it's just not possible really. But yeah, man, I mean, it doesn't, 17 cents does not scare me, and it shouldn't scare anybody. And, but yeah, man, it might not be for you if you get scared all the time, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, it's one of the only good things going on in crypto right now. I mean, you're not much better off if you were holding Bitcoin or Ethereum. You're still down 50, 60% from all-time highs on a lot of these coins, right? So it's like, why not pick the coin that's paying you to hold it, that's got so much hype right around the corner that after this pulsex sacrifice, you know, sell pressure wears off, it could be off to the races, and we might never see levels of 17 cents again or 18 cents again, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You need to be greedy when others are fearful when others are greedy, but obviously much easier said than done. Right. It's easy to say, you know, Warren Buffett quotes all day long. It's very, very hard to act on them. Let me give you guys a visual of what Hex Element's talking about. Okay. Here is the Hex chart, right? Everybody looks at this chart and they say, oh, pump and dump, obvious pump and dump. Look, it pumped and it dumped. Look, guys, it's going to die now. Do you guys see, you know, those little tiny blips on the radar around 2021 and 2022, right? So like, look at the screen right now. Around the 2020 mark, around March, there's a little blip, right? Around September, there's a little blip. It looks like the tiniest little hump, right? We make that a log chart. This is what it is, guys. This is a chart going up and to the right constantly over the last 2.5 years. And this is what people are actually experiencing, right? They're experiencing these big pumps and dumps, but they always land higher, right? You got to look at the log chart, guys. And when people look at Bitcoin, they're always quoting the Bitcoin log chart, because we can see it's eerily similar to Bitcoin, guys. Hex is following the trajectory of Bitcoin in an eerily similar way, almost faster than Bitcoin, right? Look, this is Bitcoin, right? Look at that giant run up in 2017. It doesn't look so giant anymore, but in 2017, the sky was falling. People were losing their life savings because it went from $20,000 to $3,000, right? But relative to where we're at now, just a tiny little molehill. And then we got log chart, boom, log chart. Like it's a lot better, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. And like I've been having to do a lot of research, try to catch up with the game, because like, you know, like I said, I haven't been in crypto for a crazy long time, so I'm having to go learn like everything, you know, where did Bitcoin come from, you know, what did it do in the past and all this stuff, because it's important, because people talk about it a lot, and I want to be able to like, you know, like know what I'm talking about when someone's, you know, talking to me about, you know, crypto and things like that. So it's a lot to learn, but I'm love learning, man.
Yeah. So I think what everyone wants to hear is everything going to be okay? What about my bags, Hex Element? What about my bags?
It's going to be phenomenal. You're going to be A-okay as long as you hold and do not emergency end stake and get scared, because it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. There's just this is like a few months compared to years and years and years and years is nothing. So, you know, instead of looking at it day by day and second by second, just, you know, just chill and just let it ride out and it'll be all right.
Yeah, you know, I mean, this is on par for probably our longest consolidation phase. So I can see why, you know, it's been about 5 months of sideways action or range bound, you know, without 5 months without making a new all-time high, let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you got in where? You got in at, let's see, 7 cents. So you got in, around June, right? Or somewhere around there.
Yeah, June, July. Yeah.
Well, summertime was a great time to get in because you got to experience that euphoria of all the way up to 50 cents. I mean, what were your thoughts at that time?
So, I mean, it was great. I only invested, a couple grand into it at the time. And so, I what did I like double or tripled, and it's still a great feeling, even when it's not, crazy amounts of money, but, that gave you a little taste of what's to come in the future. And so, and when that happened, I'm like, man, I got to do a 15-year stake. Cause at first, I didn't know a lot. So I was like, do I really want to lock my money up for 15 years and things like that? But, as time went by, I learned more, and then, Hex started doing what Hex does. And I'm like, yep, we're doing a 5-5-5-5, and then I'm just building my ladder out and stuff. But it was great watching that.
Yeah, I mean, it helps to start small. You don't have to do a 5,555 day. You don't have to do a 15-year stake, guys. I mean, you might have stumbled upon maybe the wrong channel for you if you're a newbie, right? And you hear people talking about Cuatro Cinco stakes, like 15-year stakes. I mean, it takes a lot of balls and a lot of confidence in the system, but where that confidence comes from is understanding the system. So
exactly,
the more knowledge you have, the more confidence you can be. But on the outside, it might just seem like a crazy cult that is obsessed with delaying gratification. Yeah, we are, but we know that the code is unhackable, right? It's got 100% uptime. It's got PulseChain to live on in the near future, so no gas fees. There's hedge funds being created that are going to take money and sell it to Wall Street. There's fiat on ramps coming in years time. It's all right around the corner. All this hype is very, very real. I mean, it's not just based off of news and promises of what might happen. It's based off of the community effort of all of us taking it into our own hands and doing our own little projects. Everybody's got some role to play, and everyone's adding value in their own way.
So, I totally agree. And like, oh my gosh, man, I have so many ideas bouncing off my head. I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
It's all right. Spit it all out. Just idea vomit. Go ahead.
Let's see. Yeah, so I got in. Oh yeah, I remember what I was gonna say. So I had 1 and 2 year stakes, and like the 1 year stake is getting ready to come out pretty soon, and I'm not gonna make anything on it really because these gas fees, man. The gas fees are just
wow.
It's gonna be crazy because I mean I didn't stake a lot of my hex, so it's just crazy. So when PulseChain comes out, and even before, like now, like just talking about it and understanding like the gas fees are going to be minuscule, it's going to be so much easier for mass adoption and for staking purposes, shorter stakes as well. It's going to be just great.
Right. That's right. What do you think about the concept of diversification? So, a lot of people say they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. What is your, I don't know, do you have a portfolio? Like, what does that look like?
No, all I own is Hex. That's the only thing that I own.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, in the few.
Well, I was just going to say, I think, the diversification thing, it's kind of a myth if you're starting from scratch. If you're starting from almost zero or a very low dollar amount, you kind of do want to put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket very, very carefully and maybe even work for that basket. Like that's pretty much what I did. I just kind of was like, all right, I'm going to bet on this, but I'm going to do more than just bet on it. I'm going to like try to speak it into reality with a YouTube channel and advertising and all the stuff, we do behind the scenes. But once you have, made the life-changing wealth or significant money where you don't have to worry, then I'd say you can diversify. But for brand new people, to put like $500 into 20 different shit coins, that's kind of what I did in 2017. Like, that's just a recipe for not necessarily winning. But again, if you're in the position to be diversifying, then go ahead. As my take on that.
Yeah, I just know that this is a good system, and I would have to do a lot of research on a different project and really trust in it to do something, because diversification, I mean, you're just gonna really get screwed on all these shit coins and crypto wise and things like that. I recently got my dad yesterday, actually. I got him to dump all of his Ethereum and put it all into Hex. So
wow, hell yeah, dude. Well,
yeah,
I mean, Ethereum is it's not bad, right? It's necessary, but Pulse, man, it's gonna exceed Ethereum's gains. I think. I mean, if Hex is beating Bitcoin, then I think Pulse can easily beat Ethereum.
Yeah, I mean, he only had 2 ETH, but you know, what I'm saying like, okay, you have 2 ETH, but how high is that really gonna go and make like, are you gonna be able to become financially free off your 2 ETH? You know, like you're probably gonna make good money in the future, but I don't know about becoming financially free off 2 ETH, right? So you can put that into something else like
Yeah.
Hex
Yeah.
that you can get what I don't even know what two so like 6K. I don't know what 6K would be in Hex, but you know what I mean. A lot more and a lot
Right.
more opportunity is the word, you know, for the future. So you know, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're doing Bitcoin over again, guys. You're not going to get rich in Bitcoin. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to get rich. Maybe Ethereum might take you like 10, 15 years. Hex can take you 2 to 4 years. You know, it can be your 2 to 4 year plan. Obviously, you know, keep staking longer, so you never really have an income stream ending, right? Because it's passive income for life. But the probability and the potential, the price potential for these things to pump in the near future is so much higher on Hex because it's much more lower liquidity, right? It's a newer coin. It's still in its infancy. It's like you're buying Bitcoin when it was 812 days old, right? Bitcoin used to be $10 at this, you know, when Bitcoin was Hex's age, it was about $10. And a lot of people said, "Oh shit, I missed it because you know it's I missed it at a penny and now it's all the way at $10." So it already did a 100x or whatever, 1,000x. So
Right.
I'm too late, right? But little did they know, you know, it went to $100, $1,000, $10,000, right? It still had another 1,000x left in the tank, right? And it's like you can't see that bigger picture because and it's even harder to in Bitcoin because Bitcoin doesn't pay you to hold it. So
Mm-hmm.
you could have got shaken out at any point in Bitcoin's history, right? But with Hex, I think I can take this chart off. You guys get the point, right? Log, not log, log, not log. Okay. Look at that. Look at the log chart. I'm taking the chart off. But yeah, you guys understand. Oops. There we go. Don't want anyone to see that dirty room behind me. Um, what else? What else we got going in the chat, guys? Hey, any questions for special guest here? What do you think Biden will be doing? Any no mining in states? Well, that doesn't really affect us, I don't think. I think personally, like, I feel like government is too slow to catch up. We're innovating faster than they can regulate, and we just have to keep doing that. What about you?
Man, I have no idea because like the government scares me, man, because they have so much power and like, well, I say that, but you know what I mean. Like they're just they're. I feel like they're against. I don't know what I can. I don't know what I can say on YouTube like
You can
about
say
the
anything as long as you
government
can,
stuff.
as long as you don't say the C word.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just I have no idea. I just hope that well, you know, because like people were asking, oh, can they regulate cryptocurrency, right? And Richard says no, but I don't know. Can they regulate it? I don't know
Well,
how it can work.
they can't regulate you sending coins to somebody else on a
Mm-hmm.
non-custodial wallet, right? So if we get to a mass adoption phase where people actually accept this stuff as money,
Yeah.
then I mean it's more of an ideological shift that needs to happen in people's mental paradigms, right? But there will always be fiat to crypto on ramps, and those will always be able to be tracked. I don't see a way around that. It's more of can we convince enough people to think that their crypto is just as good, if not better, than their dollars? Because objectively, it is. I mean, the properties are better. Like it's a Swiss bank account in your head. You memorize 12 words, and you can bring your whole entire bank account anywhere in the world with you, right? There's nobody
Mm-hmm.
telling you like you know there's nobody stopping you with a metal detector taking out all your gold out of your suitcase or anything. It has no weight, right?
Right.
It's all digital. It's made of light and digits and you know silicon. As long as the internet is up, like it's totally free, borderless, peer-to-peer money, and it's also a good store of value too. So I think it's almost like the perfect Trojan horse, right? You're disguising a financial revolution as a get rich quick scheme. And if people
Mm-hmm.
can make money, you know, if people's own greed causes them to choose a better option, then
Mm-hmm.
it's almost inevitable, right? It's just if not
Yeah.
win, or win not if. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I feel as if the government's kind of like an old horse trying to keep up with the new ones, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's really all I gotta say about that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they're making laws about staking, you know, and stuff about how it's taxed and everything. Again,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's only taxed if you need to cash out, right? And of course we need to cash out, guys. I'm not beating around the bush. People pay for things in dollars. That's what we're here for. One day maybe that
Mm-hmm.
might not be true, but until then, that's just a utopian dream. So
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. The government, yeah, it doesn't necessarily scare me. I just want to play by their rules, and it's hard when there are no rules. You know what I mean? Like it's hard when they're
Mm,
just kind of coming up with the rules on the fly, and you're like, wait, how do I do my
yeah,
taxes this year? Like what's going on?
yeah, and I'm not trying to get in any conflict with the IRS, man. That's
Nope. That's how they got
nope.
Capone. That's how they got
Yeah,
McAfee. That's how
yeah,
you could do a lot of bad stuff in this world, but if you
right.
try to evade your taxes, they're gonna come for you.
Very true. Yeah,
You know, it's like they're a bunch of gangsters, man. It's crazy.
yeah, exactly.
Give me my money.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Yeah, truth engine. Right, that's right. Hex is a truth engine, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's what does that mean? What does truth engine mean? Well, it's something where you actually have to put up your money. Put your money where your mouth is, right? You're
Yeah.
voting, you're expressing your belief in the system by locking up Hex for a certain number of days or years, preferably. Any number of days you want. But one of the what do you call it? The effects, the residual effects, the emergent properties of that is that you get this community of really long-term believers, and it's almost cult-like, you know, how much we believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
It could be off-putting to some people, but hey, I mean, if it's a cult that believes in financial freedom, it believes in getting everybody rich, you know, yourself included. I mean, sounds like a fun cult. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and like really simple terms, people ask like, how do you make money like that's not price purchasing? How are you making the APY? Well, it's really simple. It's by people not telling the truth. Really, that's really what it is. And yeah, simple
Yeah.
terms.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you don't stake as many days as you say you're going to stake, obviously you're
Mm-hmm.
penalized, right? So it's staking with consequences, which I don't know why it's taken so long for this idea to be in reality. You know what I mean? Any other
Right.
coin, you can just stake it and you can unstake it whenever you want. There's no penalties at all. There's no early unstaking, late unstaking. You just kind of get a residual drip of coins. I feel like most staking contracts are very crude and rudimentary, where they just kind of like credit your account, like give you a couple
Mm.
tokens a day, and you know that's just constant sell pressure on the market, right? It's just like that's not what makes a coin go up. What makes a coin go up is people buying it and then taking it off the market. Buying
Mm-hmm.
essentially, it's like buy and burns. Every stake is like a buy and burn, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you do get it back one day. You're just launching it way into the future, not a couple days, not a couple months, way in the future.
And then you have to manually go in and unstake it whenever you reach that the length of your stake, correct?
Yeah.
And if you don't, then what does it do? Like give you penalties more, or what goes on if you don't unstake when you're supposed to?
What goes on if you don't unstake when you're supposed to?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Like
mean,
if
you
you
get
let
hit
it keep
hard, man.
going longer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's up to 2 years. You bleed out 1% per week for 100 weeks, right? Which is about 2 years
Mm-hmm.
after a 2 week grace period. So I think it does add up to almost exactly 2 years.
Right.
But yeah. So we've got. I don't know if this is a troll question or not. It makes no sense. If I own any hex, he'll give me a copy. No one's giving you a copy. Okay, so no one's giving you anything. I'm not sure if this question is like a funny troll or if he just really doesn't get PulseChain, but when you fork code, right, you just get a copied version of that code, right? So when the code is forked, you can optionally switch over to PulseChain and you'll see all of the same coins on the PulseChain that you had on the Ethereum chain. Now, whether or not people decide to give these coins value is up to the people, right? But
Mm-hmm.
as we've seen in crypto, I mean, if something is available to buy and sell, people will probably trade it. They'll probably give it a price, especially I would guess the more, well-known tokens, Link, Sheeb, Hex, obviously, whatever. But, if you have 20,000 Hex or $20,000 worth of Hex on Ethereum, it doesn't mean you're going to have $20,000 worth of Hex on PulseChain. You're going to have the same quantity of coins, but each of these coins will have different prices. So the next question is, what if I have $1, 1 million in WETH? Well, the funny thing is about Ethereum is that that's getting diluted. So the one change that's being made is to the total supply of PulseChain, right? So the network token PulseChain is similar to the network token Ethereum, right? It's what you use to pay gas fees in both systems. However, with PulseChain, there's 10,000x or maybe even a million times more tokens than there are in Ethereum. So one Ethereum will transform into one PulseChain on the PulseChain network, But that one pulse chain will have such a low value because it's getting diluted by the people in the sacrifice phase, who are getting orders of magnitude more coins than your freemium that you would get with your ETH.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, like people, whenever I tell people that, like, you know, if you have an ERC20, it's going to transfer over to the Pulse chain. If you, you know, switch it over, you'll have, you know, those copies over there. But what they think is that they're going to have the dollar value. And that's I mean, that's not right, because it hasn't, there's no value set yet, you know? And so yeah, like the copies will be there, you like, you know, 1-to-1 ratio, but you're not going to have the dollar value because there will be no value yet behind it. So it's not going to be, oh, here, if you have $1 million, you're going to get $1 million over here. You're going to double instantly, like 2 million. No, it's just, it doesn't work like that. I mean, it might, you know, go back up to that, but it's, you know, not instant, just free money, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hopefully a little bit of free money, like enough to get people curious, right? And that's why the world's largest airdrop thing is more than just a marketing term. It's actually going to get people to use the system. And that actually goes into this guy's next question. Again, I hope these are legitimate questions so we can actually answer them. But he said, so if I don't have any copies of all my ERC20s automatically on Phantom, AVAX, Arbitrum, Chronos, right? He has to bridge. Yeah, but that's the difference, right? So the difference with PulseChain, why is it different than every other layer one? Well, one of the main things is you're copying the entire system state of Ethereum, which means you're copying all the coin balances, all the smart contracts, everything, right? So you're copying Ethereum with all of the stuff built on Ethereum. That's what a lot of these other blockchains didn't have I guess maybe didn't have the foresight to do, or didn't have the thought to do, right? So you're bootstrapping adoption by saying, hey, you've got a whole bunch of coins over here. Why don't you come play around in an environment that's almost a clone of Ethereum, except it's really cheap and really fast, and the user experience is way better. So there's no bridging necessary on PulseChain. Now, if you want to bridge from ETH to PulseChain, yeah, there will be a bridge. You can go ahead and do that, but you don't have to, because if I'm holding a, you know, link on Ethereum, well, then I'm going to have link on PulseChain too. I can go play around with it. I can go see if I can dump it and get any money out of it, or I can maybe provide liquidity and make a play there. But the world's largest airdrop is essentially marketing language to describe copying the Ethereum system state, which is also the same thing as bootstrapping adoption, right? That's the intention of it. You have millions of users on Ethereum, and rather than having to beg them to go build and play around in these new sandboxes, these new ghost towns, right? A lot of these are like ghost blockchains with no development, not a lot of activity. Well, you've got a clone of Ethereum, right? So you've got very minimal front end work that needs to be done to flip flop the networks between each other. And you can use a lot of your same dApps that you liked on Ethereum. You can just flip one statistic or where the server points to, and you can instead of pointing to Ethereum, you can point to PulseChain on the front end, and you can flip flop between networks, and you can see different balances, and you can see the power of how cheap and fast it is. Hopefully that was a decent way to understand it.
Yeah, and like, you know, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. You know, we can't sit here waiting for ETH 2.0 forever. So, you know, Richard took it into his own hands to create something that's, you know, going to be quicker and faster than and years earlier than the update or whatever, you know. So
yeah, that was kind of what it was originally. What spurred the idea was, oh man, Ethereum's unusable, and all my HEX people have to pay $1,000 to end a stake. That is robbery, right? That's highway robbery.
Exactly.
He always had it as a card in his back pocket. I remember hearing him in the early days. People were concerned trolling about, what if ETH fees get too high? Well, it's funny, you can actually hear him say this. Like, it's almost very eerie and like premonitory. He was already thinking about this in like 2019. He's like, well, if that ever happened, you know, we would just fork Ethereum. And then he's like, oh shit, it happened. I guess I got to fork Ethereum.
Forking Ethereum,
yeah. So, I mean, he's never really gone back. I mean, this guy is thinking in chess moves. Like, he's always 3 moves ahead, I believe.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Well, let's see. Low fees are a selling point now, but how will fees be in the future as we get large adoption? Well, because of the unit bias problem, hopefully that doesn't happen for a long time. Again, every blockchain at one point might become a victim of its own success, but with Ethereum, or with PulseChain rather, I think it takes a lot longer, right? I think because we're starting at 0.000001 penny, Ethereum launched at 31 cents, right? So we're launching at 0.0001 cents.
Right.
So we're buying time in the units essentially. And we're also buying time by taking load off of Ethereum and hopefully shifting the dynamic of the whole crypto ecosystem at large to be a multi-chain environment. Maybe you've got some dApps that are specialized on PulseChain, some dApps that remain on Ethereum. Maybe you've even got some useful dApps over on Binance Smart Chain. And then these evolve to be like the Microsoft, the Amazon, the Google cloud platforms, right? But now instead of these big cloud platform providers, you've got these large public blockchain providers, right? You got your BSC, your ETH, your PulseChain, maybe one or two more, and they're all kind of interoperable and connected, but they all take load off of each other so that nobody ever has to really suffer from extremely high gas fees. I don't think it's one chain to rule them all, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. And that would take, such a long time, just like you're talking about where ETH started and things like that. And then let's see, like Hex 19 says, if gas fees bother you, do a longer stake. And that's honestly other than, just to be a part of the club or whatever. That's another reason that I did longer stakes too, because I was like, man, if these gas fees stay like it is, how it went on Ethereum, it's like I gotta do longer stakes, to make it worth it. And so luckily those are going to be copied over, and it's gonna ride out, so it's gonna be great.
Right. Well, so what do you say to the people in the chat right now? Well, the guy in the chat that's basically saying, well, yeah, I understand we're going to get copied coins, but all the copied coins are going to be worthless. How do you respond to that?
I respond to that by like, dude, like, sure, for a split second, but I mean, they're going to be worth something very quickly, okay? And it might take a while for them to become, crazy amounts of like, worth something. But hey, man, like you're getting all these copies for nothing. Like, you're just getting them, and so yeah, they're gonna be worth nothing for a split second. But is that enough for you to say, okay, I'm gonna just sell all of it? No, of course not. Like just let it ride out. Just let it ride out, because it's gonna go up, and then when it goes up, you're gonna feel really, really bad if if you got rid of all of it. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. It's like, yeah, they don't have to have a value, man. Maybe they won't, but chances are, just because people can trade something, people tend to give it a value. And if your dApp actually has a use case, if your coin actually has a purpose, which this might be like the great filter, right? Because half the people are going to realize, oh, my coin doesn't actually do anything. It was just for trading. But, and those are probably the coins that are going to go up in value faster if they're only for trading. But if you have a coin that has a purpose, why wouldn't you want to migrate over to the chain where there's no gas fees? With minimal dev work, you can change the front end to point to PulseChain, and then boom, you have an environment with near zero fees with 3-second block times. You don't have to redeploy the contract. Everything just works. You can use your same MetaMask account, your same private keys. All your users are there. All your lead devs can do this with minimal work, and all your smart contracts are there. All your balances are there. Why wouldn't a lot of people want to switch over to the better place? It's like moving to a country where you're treated better, right? So that would make the value probably go up. If people actually use the coin in the cheaper, better environment, it's probably going to have some value. Now, whether or not it's the same value that it used to be on Ethereum, who knows? Maybe they reach price parity, maybe they don't. The more liquidity in the Pulse Ethereum versions of these coins there is, the more likely they are to stabilize due to Hart's law and liquidity dynamics. I think that's a cool thing. That's like a 900 IQ thing though, so we can't really like explain that to new people. But yeah, I don't think any of us were ever saying that you're going to get double your money. So if anybody's just thinking you're going to get overnight double your money on PulseChain, you are very, very wrong. But you might get some things at free value.
Right.
So yeah. I've never like tried to beat around the bush about that.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. And they're probably even myself, whenever I first heard about PulseChain, still kind of new to crypto. And whenever they said, oh, you're going to get, double your coins, in my head, oh, I get double my money, but it's just not the case. And, once you realize that and you realize why that's the case, but even though that's not the case, it could be someday. Right. And so, and it could happen quick. You don't know.
It's the curiosity. It's the, ooh, what is it worth? Right. So
exactly.
You mean to tell me that you're going to get a free copy of all your coins and you're not just going to take a little peek and see how much they're worth? You're going to take a peek.
Right.
You're gonna look, right? If there is potentially some value sitting over there, you're gonna look and you're gonna play around with it, and it's gonna be sticky. Maybe you're just really salty about Richard Hart, you really don't want to use the cheaper, faster, better version, that's fine. Go back to Ethereum. Go back to Ethereum where you're paying $50 per transaction. Or
Right.
hey, you could stick around over here because we're welcoming everybody, right? You don't have to come here, but something tells me, my gut's telling me that when people come, a lot of them aren't going to want to leave. And a lot of people are building new stuff, right? It's not all about just migrating existing Ethereum projects. A lot of people, what I'm seeing happen, the phenomenon I'm seeing happening with PulseChain is it's almost like this great filter where a lot of the stuff that is good on Ethereum that's actually stood the test of time is being forked over and redeployed in an even better way. This is happening with liquid loans or Mintra, for example. These are ideas that have a proven track record and a precedent that's been set that they're actually successful, right? Like LooksRare, right? Was successful NFT platform on Ethereum. Well, Mintra is kind of a fork of that. Liquidity, very successful lending platform on Ethereum. Liquid loans is just Liquidity on steroids. I mean, there's a lot of these new thing. I mean, Hedron, totally new idea, but tradable HEX stakes, right? It's just a sandbox for new innovations to come and to take what worked and make it even better and not have to necessarily reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, I've seen so many projects already, in works and being talked about and things like that. And even though testnet is out there and the test bridge and all that kind of stuff, but whenever like it actually gets, fully launched, it's gonna be like crazy, man. It's gonna be like euphoric, and then just watching what it does from there and being able to use it, just use it. It's gonna be great.
Right. Yeah, and people get to use it with minimal friction, right? It's still using Solidity. They still, Ethereum has been around for a long time, right? The developers are used to developing in a certain way. So if you're gonna try to make them migrate to a totally different blockchain, something like a Tezos, for example, that like doesn't even use the same programming language, and there's not a whole lot of developers over there, it's a lot less appealing as a developer. I want to go where there's a lot of other developers. I want to go where there's a lot of documentation, where I can borrow from a lot of other smart contract ideas that have already been built. So that's what I think, the real edge is of PulseChain, even Binance Smart Chain, right? Which copied Ethereum. And we're copying the good qualities from both of those chains. And we're making it a lot easier for people to start up, right? So you don't have these ghost towns. And right, like, sure, maybe you've got some crazy new technology that's giving you 10,000 transactions per second and it's awesome. But no one's over there because everyone's been developing on Ethereum, right? And the shift, the activation energy that it takes to get people mainstream consciousness to shift over to this brand new ghost town blockchain is too high. And it's just not how people act, right? People like what's familiar and what's comfortable. So that's the plan here, man. And like a lot of, if you guys don't believe in that vision, then go ahead. You can go use your Avalanche or whatever. Good luck. Good luck with Avalanche. I'm just like so much more confident about PulseChain in terms of what I know about how people actually act. Like, it's not always the better technology that wins. Sorry to keep interrupting. It's not always the better technology that wins. Right? Like Blu-ray was great, but hey, we all ended up going with the better or the more convenient technology. That's also better than, DVDs or whatever, but HD is just better than Blu-ray.
Yeah, totally. And no, you're good, man. You're good. All I was gonna say is that, like, yeah, man, if these people want to keep using Ethereum and paying these gas fees, they can do it. I guess it's entirely up to them. But I know most smart people are definitely going to be going over to PulseChain, where the new projects are being built, where the fees are going to be low, where. And a lot of people are talking about things like this is because it's not, in their hands yet, and they're not seeing things. Right. So, they're going all over all of these like scenarios in their head. Okay, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And once it actually launches and people sees it, it's going to be a lot less of that because it's going to be in front of you and you're going to be able to see exactly what's going on. Then,
it's going to be so much easier when we actually have something to talk about. We're speaking so conceptually right now, but I'm trying to really paint a picture, as a developer or whatever, you want to build a new dApp. You've got a great idea. You've got all this documentation on Ethereum. You've learned Solidity for the past 3 or 4 years. Now you want to go build on a foreign blockchain. I don't mean to pick on any blockchain, but let's just say you want to build on Avalanche, right? Well, let's say you build something awesome over on Avalanche. Now you got to get everyone over there to use it, right? Because these things are only as good as people are using them. So good luck trying to get mass adoption on this thing where people have to download a totally new wallet. They have to learn a totally new set of rules. I've used layer 2 solutions. I've used things like Polygon they're not seamless, right? There's friction, right? There's bridging costs, bridging fees. If you want mass adoption, you can't have people waiting 2 hours for these bridging fees, or paying an arm and a leg. I mean, if they're paying a high gas cost, just to get over into the ecosystem, and then they have to get back out of the layer 2 back into the layer 1, it's almost like, that's just not the ideal way to do it from the user's perspective. So I think a lot of times people get wrapped up in the tech, even if there is objectively better tech, the user experience isn't quite there for a lot of this stuff yet. One day, if it is, I'll change my mind, but it is not right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And but on the topic kind of the tech, it's like when you are dude, like Richard said, if you're waiting 30 minutes to get a transfer for your coffee or whatever, it's
Right.
like we need something a lot quicker. And so the fact that PulseChain is so quick and the gas fees are going to be so cheap, it's like there's no reason for people not to use it. I mean, you just got to be dumb not to, so it's gonna be great seeing it into action.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. I know it's not the fastest blockchain, right? We have blockchains that brag about doing 1 million, some crazy amount of TPS. It's not all about TPS, guys. Again, people aren't using it, right? So this could be one of the first mainstream blockchains where people actually use it because they've already got their MetaMask. It already works from day one. And it's also good for transactions because they can confirm a transaction in 3 seconds or 4 seconds. That's just about how long it takes me at the store for my credit card to go through, 3-4 seconds. So we might actually be able to see payments be functional on PulseChain as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And like on the topic of, PulseChain and HEX and all that, like I was trying to, onboard my friend or whatever. And, like people that I know, they're not, they can put like 100, $200 in, and like they really couldn't. He got like $20 in HEX for, putting 100 in with all the fees and stuff. And at times he maybe couldn't even buy anything for $100, So it's gonna lead to mass adoption on PulseChain no matter what, because people are going to be able to put in $100, 20, 40, whatever they want,
That's the main barrier, man. Every time I try to onboard somebody in real life, I feel so bad because they only have a couple $100, right? And by the time they've bought their HEX, they've transferred out of Coinbase and they pay 3% out of Coinbase and they pay, you got to enable the coin on Uniswap. That costs like $10. Then to actually swap it, it costs like $40, $50. Well, they're left with basically half the amount of money they had. And then they got to stake it for another $50 and they're like, all right, well, this is bullshit. I can't do anything. Like,
exactly.
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And so just imagine that not having to happen, right? Now, fiat on-ramps are going to be the next point of friction, right? Because bridging is going to be something that's kind of hard to explain to people. So I'm excited for fiat on-ramps, but they're coming.
Yeah, exactly. It's I feel like the hard part is getting done, and now you just got things that are gonna just make it even easier for barrier to entry for people. So it's literally just positivity in the future and things to look forward to.
It's awesome. Yeah, especially in such a crappy time in the rest of the world. This is kind of like the beacon of hope.
Right.
So what do you have, what kind of goals do you have for your channel, or why did you start it?
So I started it because I wanted to, this is going to sound weird, but I wanted just to be known in the community and be able to like just connect with people. I mean, so that's like the main reason. The second reason was because I want to talk about HEX. I want to be able to, so, if somebody asks me about HEX, hey, go check out this, or just reach people that I don't know and things like that. There's really no goals as to, I mean, of course I want to grow. I mean, who does, who doesn't want to grow? But goals wise, I guess I just want to not, what's the word? Not be stagnant and just, I guess be consistent is cause I've had so many YouTube channels in the past, man, where my whole thing was I was not consistent with what I was doing, and the fact that I'm so but what helps in this community is like I'm always interactive, or I'm always active in the community, and that makes it so much easier to be able to put out content. And so I can just, and the fact that I'm doing things, I'm going to Vegas, and so like doing these things are gonna just make it so much easier to talk about, so much easier to have the content to put out there and things like that. So I guess the goal is to just be consistent and just keep doing it. So
that's awesome. I mean, that's the hardest part, man. And to a degree, you're like, I can't enslave myself to the algorithm, right? Like I have to have a life. But at the same time, that's the only way to actually grow and reach people is that consistency. I mean, I got 5,000 subscribers only because I made a video every day in January. You know what I mean? I like 100. I think I had like 100% growth in January, February.
Mm.
And that's just because I actually decided to be a little more consistent. But what were the past channels you've had?
Oh man, I've
Or is
had
it too
like
embarrassing?
Minecraft channels when no, I don't care. I've had like
Okay,
Minecraft channels when I was like, 13, 14, and then I've had like a personal channel that was like my real name and I was just doing like vlogs or whatever. And
cool.
then I've had different channels like editing channels where I post intros that I would make and stuff like that. But
I would watch your editing. If you had editing content, I would watch because I
mm,
noticed a couple of your videos have, basic editing functionality, and I'm trying to learn that skill myself, but I'm not very good
mm.
at it, right? So it's like I would watch that.
Yeah, yeah. But like I said, man, the whole issue with me was the consistency. I just did not, I get bored of it, after uploading like 4 or 5 videos, and then and the reason I would get bored too is because there wasn't that engagement. But I feel like you just got to be consistent, and that engagement's going to come with the consistency. Because if you don't have the consistency, I mean, what do people got to come back for? Nothing, because you don't got anything else coming out. So
Right.
just yeah, so the consistency is key in my opinion.
Consistency and authenticity, I would say. Those are the top two.
Yeah,
I mean, if people feel like you're trying to bullshit them and you're trying to sell them a product, like I don't care if you guys buy Hex or not. Like I think you're silly if you don't, but like it's almost like
right.
too bad for you. You just don't get it. Like, sorry.
Yeah,
See you in 5
yeah,
years and another 1,000
right.
X later. Like, but yeah, consistency, authenticity. If you just kind of be yourself, because you can really tell everyone's got a bullshit radar that goes off if someone's
Mhm.
trying to act like this character that they're really not.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. Like I always try to be, true to myself and be able to not bullshit people, because
Right.
I just put the content out that I think people are going to enjoy, and that's, the truth in my opinion, because I'm not in it for the wrong reasons. I'm in it to just, connect with the community and, put out content about what I like, and what I like right now is crypto, so
Yeah.
and in crypto,
And it's
which is,
fun.
Hex. So yeah,
It's fun, man.
exactly.
You get to interact with the audience. You feel like you're actually making a difference. And you have people hitting you up saying, "Hey, thanks for getting me into Hex. I just bought a new house." Like that's some of the best stuff to hear, which I'm sure you'll start
Right.
hearing that like pretty soon. 6 months is about the time that people are, make some significant gains in Hex, right? A lot of
Yeah.
times. And yeah, it's like you don't have to, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. It's just fun. It's just fun, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I've like this is kind of I've had this channel for a long time, and I just rebranded it to Hex Element or whatever. And I've only
Okay.
been posting for a couple months, but man, the couple months I've had people like just commenting, and it just feels good, being able to connect with people and to teach people and just grow, and then talk to people in the community as well.
Yeah.
And so
It's a good
it's
skill
it's
to just be able to talk in front of a camera. And it's hard to say, yeah, be authentic, but at the same time, you're having this really sometimes unnatural interaction where it's just you and a camera
right.
and like a microphone. Especially like I love actually talking to another human, but when I'm doing the videos by myself, I'm kind of like it takes some getting used to, some comfortability factor. I mean, showing your face is the hump that a lot of people can't get over at all. But once you show your face, you're like, okay, well now how do I conduct myself and talk to the camera as if I'm talking to a person, even though I'm not technically talking to a person. Like right now, we basically have an auditorium full of 250 people that we're talking to, right?
Right.
If this was real
Right.
life, I'd be sweating and I'd be shitting myself. Like, I'd be so nervous, man.
Yeah, just
Like,
like 250 people just standing there,
yeah,
like,
it's like, all right, talk, dance for us, monkey, you know. But
right, right,
it's an easy way to start building up the skill of public
yeah,
speaking, because I've noticed even in real life now I've had to do public speaking, and it's still tough, but I'm not so afraid of it that I just won't do it anymore. I'll
hmm,
do it and I'll suck at it because that's a whole nother ball game. But it's just one of these good skills to really get in front of people, develop your linguistic capabilities, keep a thought together and convey a thought. It's a really powerful skill. I mean, you can reach orders of magnitude more people. And granted, word of mouth is the best way to onboard people, but this is word of
yeah,
mouth at scale because, I'll meet people and for some reason, they'll feel like they know me and they'll feel like, yo, what's up, coffee? Like, good to meet you. And it's like, hey, well, when you're coming at me like that with that intention, I almost feel like I've known you for a while, because their familiarity makes me feel familiar with them. So like they're not, some people are a little strange, but for the vast majority of people, 95% of people are just like very down to
yeah,
earth, like real humans. And you meet them in real life and you're just like, yeah, man, Cool. I feel like I've known you. Oh, you're, MT Coiner in the chat. Like, nice. I've seen your name before. It's like just fun.
Yeah.
The community
Yeah.
building is something super interesting. And all the traffic we've done from Hex so far has been organic, which is kind of an enigma. I don't think there's a lot of companies out there that can really say that they're almost like a decentralized organic corporation. Like, there's no leader and everyone's doing their own thing. So I don't know of any other thing that has turned into what Hex has turned into.
Mm-hmm.
We got a tip in the chat. Thank you. Say what? Apologies if this was answered already. What do you say to the people who didn't sacrifice PLS? Are they late? How big of an opportunity was missed? Keep up the great work. I'll let you answer that one, bro.
I don't think you missed out. I mean, of course you missed out on the sacrifice phase, but I don't think that you missed out in general, as if like, you buy some and then it's not going anywhere. No, I don't think it's the case at all. I think that you still have a great opportunity in front of you, to buy Pulse whenever it's available for purchase, after the PulseChain comes out. There's also people saying that they're gonna, sack right now for pulsex and then trade some of that and swap it for Pulse, and so that have like a 1-to-1 portfolio. There's so many ways to do it, but the short answer is no, you're not too late, or they aren't too late if you didn't sacrifice.
Yeah, here I'm pulling something up on the screen for you guys right now to give a good parallel, right? If you missed the PulseChain sacrifice, that's like saying you missed the ETH ICO, right? So ETH ICO price was what, 31 cents, I believe. So ETH ICO price being 31 cents, that is right here. Okay, so look at the line on the screen, guys. One thing that I think is really cool to happen with Ethereum is that in the time leading up to the actual launch after the ICO, there was so much built up hype that Ethereum actually never saw the best ICO prices again, right? It never actually got back down to 31. Now, notice that it did have a dip, though. It did have a dip in the first 8 weeks or so. So, about 47 days into, let's do an actual calculation. Let's do some real specific, like in 77 days, ETH reached its all-time low, right? So that's just over 2 months, right? About two and a half months. So when I say there might be a dip at launch, I really think there might be a dip at launch, but I think it'll still be there will still be so much pent up demand and like hype essentially that it might never go below the floor price of 0.0001. So when you're thinking about am I getting a good deal, just think about if you're getting in the initial dip, you're probably getting a good deal, because then look what happened to Ethereum after that, right? In the following 9 months, crazy gains, insane. And then the following year, even more insane. So although we might never go to the floor price of the PulseChain sacrifice, I still think there will be a dip buying opportunity when we launch. So that's my answer to your question there.
Yeah, totally agree.
Cool, man. We've got one guy in chat that just really does not like Hex or anything about it. Now he's saying, well, after we answered all of his concerns, he just said, "Oh, I don't like the founder." I almost can't tell. I almost can't tell if he's like doing it on purpose, because he's almost concern trolling, like through the playbook of concern trolling, like all the things we normally hear.
Going down the list.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, you don't like Richard Hart, man? Like, I don't know what to tell you. You're not buying Richard Hart. You're buying PulseChain.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not like buying Richard's Louis Vuitton bag. Like, you can like someone's creation and not like his personality, right? But if you try to look up any dirt on Richard, there's nothing really there. It's all FUD and articles that poorly researched articles, like, oh, he got sued for internet spam in 2001. When internet spam was first being created, like as a concept, and he broke some obscure law in a specific state, along with 4 other people who also got reprimanded, and they just got like a $500 ticket, essentially saying, "Hey, don't do that anymore." So Richard said, "Okay,
and then I
won't." Yeah,
I saw somebody like talk about how, first of all, this is totally not true, but they were saying how like he was doing like a passport fraud or something like that, and it was total BS, like
That was
total
somebody
BS.
else that copied and pasted it, like his picture onto a passport, and then just
Exactly.
totally slanderously just said, "Hey, look, Richard's doing passport fraud." It's like, no, that was you doing passport fraud and like trying to blame it on Richard. Like it's just such a
Exactly.
weird. It's very weird, man. I think people don't like his language and his
Mm,
I'm smarter than you attitude, but it's different when you actually listen to what he
right.
says and you're like, well, he is smarter than me at these specific things. Like sure, maybe I know more about underwater basket weaving than he does, but like when someone when
Yeah.
someone knows, you got to listen when someone knows information. And yeah, think critically. Not everything he says is gospel, but he's right a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah. What do you think about his take on the Daytona 500?
Oh man, that was so I wasn't like crazy invested in it, so like it didn't really, but it sure, kind of affected some people at first. Cuz like yeah, sure, after it was all done, he posted about it and stuff, so but then, it really wasn't crazy talked about marketing wise, it was just a bunch there's just crazy hype behind it, and that's good. Yeah, it looked cool, it was cool. And but what happened, Richard was like, man, terrible terrible opportunity for advertising, so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then when I went in and listened to that replay of the spaces, and then him and Motley talked about it, and so did you. And I don't know, it's all good at the end of the day,
Yeah, I mean, you can't be upset at Motley for
tell
trying.
the
I mean,
truth.
it was pretty epic what he did.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it'll be
exactly.
remembered. It'll be remembered for a long time in the community for sure. How much reach did it have? And like again, people are telling me, "Oh, I don't know what I'm talking about because I don't know NASCAR." I've heard there might even be more races in the future, so we might actually have him for like a couple more races. So we'll get a little more exposure out of it. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, brand advertising doesn't necessarily get people to actually click the buy button, right? It's great for
Hmm.
the JPEG though. It's great for the image, and it's great. Like when Richard said, I would have just taken it the JPEG of the car over actually buying the car. I'm like, well, yeah, but the thing had to actually happen too. So there's a story, but that's not just a stupid, you
Yeah.
know, fake
I
thing
mean,
or
he even said
whatever.
he's putting it on the site though, so I mean,
It's
there's
worth going on the site. Like it's worth it.
exactly,
I think the thing
exactly,
is, it's like
totally
everybody
agree.
just wanted the guy to win or at least qualify. Everyone's assuming like, oh, this is gonna make
At
news.
least qualify. Yeah,
Yeah. So it
yeah.
really was. It really did feel like money. To some people maybe money down the drain, but there is some residual value that we're gonna get out of it for years to come. And I think a year from now we're gonna be laughing about this, like I said earlier.
Well, it'll go down in the history books of HEX. I mean, it just will. It's going to
It
be a
will.
great topic
I
forever.
mean,
So
it's a case study in how quickly you can raise money in crypto. I mean, it took 5
yeah,
days to raise $500,000. You can't do that on Indiegogo or GoFundMe. And half the
right.
time you put anything up there, they're going to take it down if they don't agree with you. I've had an
Yeah.
Indiegogo campaign taken down. I've heard of some very prominent GoFundMe campaign in Canada that just got taken down. I'm not too thrilled about that, right? But it's like we don't need that with crypto. You can raise money for any cause. There's no
Hmm.
gatekeepers. So
Yeah. And like, I mean, it's not GoFundMe or anything like that, but like kind of like Patreon. They if they don't agree with what you're doing on YouTube, you're not gonna have a Patreon with them. So it's just it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, crazy. Money being raised in the crypto sphere. Yeah, I definitely agree.
yeah, and luckily a lot of it was raised from individuals who could afford to lose it, right? So
Right. Yeah.
hopefully no one's too burnt or doesn't feel too burnt about that. I think a lot of people complaining are people that maybe didn't even donate anything to, which is but I can see the
Yeah.
it was legitimately a disappointing loss. I was very disappointed. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't deny the feeling that, like, oh, I was kind of assuming he'd be in the race. I don't know shit about NASCAR, so
Wasn't it
sorry,
like
guys.
the last half of a lap or something like that?
Yeah, it looked really weird. And again, I don't understand. Maybe there's some way that they have to all finish in some certain order. I think I don't know, but it did seem really weird that he was so far in the lead, and then just like it almost looked like he was slowing down deliberately at the end. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I'm totally unqualified to talk about anything NASCAR related, but
Yeah, me too, man. I don't know squat about NASCAR.
yeah. But I would like to speak to the manager of NASCAR. I have a word to
Right.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, it's like that money could have been probably used elsewhere. Like I learned that lesson from Richard when he was like, I tried to do a promo campaign early on,
Hmm.
a PR campaign rather, to get people to write actual truthful, good articles about Hex on the internet for SEO.
Yeah.
And I raised like
Yeah.
a couple grand, maybe 7 or 8 grand or so. And then he comes in and says, hey, you know what, dude, you're probably not going to get a good deal out of that. Like, you should probably just use it for actual advertising where you can track the clicks and track the conversions. I was like, okay, well, if you say so. And so a lot of people were a little disappointed that we didn't get the flashy promotional package. But then I'm looking at the promotional package that they offered, and they would have written us a bunch of articles on no-name websites that aren't even ranked in Google. So these articles, literally after the fact, I actually learned these articles would have just been forgotten about in history. And 2 years later, we've dominated the first, second, and third page of Google anyway. You can't even find these slanderous articles anymore because they're buried so deep. So the problem took care of itself. We didn't actually need the PR campaign. And I think going with trackable clicks, and because I generated maybe like tens of thousands of clicks on Richard Hart's YouTube channel and hex.com via both search ads and video display ads. And so it's nice to know that like that actually had a little bit of an impact, whereas like the news articles that they were going to write probably would have just
someone
been
writing
forgotten.
an article. Right. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Like I've been into like I even have a business where I do, search engine optimization and things like that. And like selling like fridges and stuff like that. But it's still nothing compared to crypto, but I understand what you're saying. Like, it's so much better to not have someone just write an article or whatever with a couple grand or whatever, and actually put that in where you can see trackable clicks and see that it's actually getting tons of engagement, so
right paying for advertising in a place where nobody's looking or nobody has any motivation to click, you're not getting as much bang for your buck. So I think Richard just doesn't like seeing people get a bad deal, basically, because even though he's rich, he's still all about the good deal,
Yeah, I totally agree. In it for the glory.
In it for the glory. All right, man, we were at an hour, 7 minutes. So before we put our, chat to sleep, let's show all your stuff, man. Go like and subscribe to Hex Element right here. Anything else you want to close with?
No, not really. And just my name's Hex Element or Taylor. I just go by Taylor because sometimes oh, what's up, Hex Element? It's like it's cool and all. Yeah, exactly.
Matt, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff under the same name right here at Hex Element. But that's, that's really it for me. I do YouTube and stuff like that. And I really appreciate you having me on here, man. It really means a lot.
Absolutely. My pleasure, dude. All right, guys, it's been real. I will see you on the next video.